Hello and welcome to Crash the Moon Gaming. Today I was thinking about just going over how to install PC games on your Mac. It specifically only works for a few apps, mostly video games. I would never really try to run, say, Microsoft Word or something through Mac, because that just, to me, seems pretty silly. So I'm going to show you how to install a specific game called Oblivion, which I'm just going to happen to be doing some Let's Plays along with Persian Version Speaks. That's my main reason of wanting to, well, show you how to do it for the Mac users out there, because I figured it'd be really handy. But yeah, it works through a program called Play on Mac, which runs off of Wine, which pretty much just emulates executable files but for Windows. But I'll show you how it works. I mean, you just click on it pretty much, you hit run. The only things you really need to install for Play on Mac are Xcorts, which installs like just I'm not really sure. It just helps you run the executable files. I think that's what it's mostly for. But I mean, yeah, as far as you can see, it runs well. You can get through the basic screen, obviously. 2K game, yay. I always liked the idea of playing Oblivion, so when I first got my first Mac, it was like, oh crap, I guess I can't game. But this is entirely different. This actually makes it so you can. Obviously, you won't be able to run your games at, say, full level as of what you should be able to run them on. Like right now I'm on a MacBook Pro, early 2011 edition, and I mean that's like 4GB RAM, only about I think 386 virtual memory, maybe it's less than that, I'm not really sure. But I mean, you'd think it would run a little better than that, but I mean it runs, it's smooth.
Really? Do come in. It's lovely in the Isles right now. Perfect time for a visit.
This just happens to be the Shivering Isles beginning. I mean, I was just testing it out. But yeah, it runs fine, and I will show you how to install this. Okay, so first what you need to do is you need to go and download and install Xcorts. I'll put the link in the description of the video, so just go to this link and click on this little file here, and that'll download it to your downloads file folder. And then next, just click right here where it says click here to download the latest version of Play on Mac. Right now it's 4.1.6, and I'll put this link in the description of the video. So I've already downloaded these, and I already have Xcorts. I mean it's pretty straightforward and simple install. You just run it, install it like any other program or app, but you just won't be able to see it in your applications folder. At least I don't think it allows you to, because it's more of a developer tool. So you just won't see it. Though it might be, oh, it is right here in utilities. So it'll install that into your utilities folder, and that's all you have to do with that. Now all you do is run Play on Mac, and install Play on Mac how you would a normal app. I'm just going to drag it into my applications folder, and of course it'll do its thing and copy everything over. And of course, if you want to always uninstall Play on Mac, maybe for future reference, remember that the uninstall is actually in the app itself, which makes it really easy to just completely wipe everything that it's done. Because when you install, say, a PC game, it actually installs into a Wine prefix, and it just puts it all into one folder for you under a virtual drive, and uninstalling Play on Mac will actually delete those files. Okay, so I've installed Play on Mac and Xcorts. Now all you have to do is go to your Play on Mac, which should be in your applications folder at this point because you just dragged and copied it over. So you just run that. For the first time running it, I think it'll ask you, yeah, this, of course. That's okay, it's completely fine, it won't mess you up or anything. And it'll automatically run Xcorts beside it, and that's completely what you want. and blah 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 blah. First use, it appears the first time you're using Play on Mac, this wizard will help you prepare Play on Mac environment. And of course you need an internet access because it will probably download a bunch of other random files, like text and font files you need to run these emulated PC games. So it'll do that. This can take quite a bit of time, so depending on how much time this takes, I'm actually just gonna skip this in the video because obviously this is boring and you don't need to see this. But just in case, I'll sit here and just talk to myself like normal. Yeah, downloading fonts. These are installing it, I'm assuming, into the Wine prefix folder that is actually going to be sitting. If you go to your main drive, go to users, go to your username, find your library. If the library doesn't pop up, there's actually a little shortcut here that says Play on Mac's virtual drives. And this is everything that is installing. So it's probably installing into the default Wine prefix. I'm not really sure, but that's what I'm just going to assume. If you ever want to get here manually and you have access to your library folder in your users, so right here under users, my name, library, Play on Mac, Wine prefix, and then default. This is where it'll actually install the games you have. It'll install them under different prefixes. I'll show you in a bit once I install Oblivion itself. And there you go. Microsoft Fonts has been successfully installed. Thank you for using Play on Mac. So now the first thing you want to do, say if I want to install Oblivion, I will put in my disk, which I actually still have. If you have an ISO file or something like that, you can always still run it. Just mount the ISO file as it were a disk. This is completely legal for those asking, so don't be like, oh, this is completely legal, you're playing games on Mac. Well, it doesn't matter. As long as you own the game, it's completely legal. It's not like I'm actually stealing Windows here. So yeah, wait for this to pop up, and then go to install a program. Now what this is just, they have general apps in here, just stuff that a lot of people maybe play, and they've said, hey, can you make it easy to install these programs? And they went and done just that. So if you want to play Oblivion, install it, just type in Oblivion, and this will actually pop right up. If you're, say, installing a program that's not listed in any of these categories, you can actually go and install a non-listed program. And it's pretty easy. You just go and find the executable file and tell it what to run. Okay, it just says, please read this. When Play on Mac installs a Windows program, leave the default location. Do not tick the checkbox, run the program if asked. Okay. So this will go through a kind of like a help wizard and try to help you out in installing Oblivion. Right now it's actually installing Wine, which is the backbone of actually emulating the Windows, I guess, pieces that are needed to run the executable file. If you don't previously have Wine, or say if 1.2.3, the version I'm currently downloaded, if that maybe doesn't work, you can actually go and install a different version of Wine, which is really easy, and I'll show you probably how to do that when I actually get this installed. Because the way to do it, you actually have to have an app or whatever already installed. So go to, say, use DVD-ROM, because mine's right here, which is a CD, DVD-ROM, whatever. But if this doesn't pop up and you need to find it yourself, you can always go to use a setup file in my computer, and you can go and find that and tell it where to. You go find the setup.exe file that comes with your disk. So right now it's downloading the DirectX stuff, which as you can see is pretty large, but it'll need it, and it helps the game run a lot better, say if you were just trying to run it without DirectX. I don't know if anyone saw this yet, but there's a huge thing on Steam, or I think it was Valve actually, where they're actually going to make probably a huge jump from Windows to Linux, which is pretty exciting for all you Linux people out there. Please insert game media into your disk drive if not already done. So I've already done that. And then you just go click it. That's my DVD CD-ROM. And now it's reading the device. And it's actually trying to find the startup or setup.exe file to run that. And if all goes well, it should find it fairly easy. As you can see in the corner, it popped up. This shouldn't take long at all, considering Macs are pretty fast when it, I mean, mine's a MacBook Pro, so actually reading the files from whatever to whatever, you just go through the install as is. You don't really need to change anything, don't change anything actually, and if you do, you'll probably mess something up, so just hit OK, install it to your supposed C drive, and this is now installing it. This is also the same way you would install, say, maybe if you wanted to play The Elder Scrolls 3, Morrowind. I might do a Let's Play on that, I haven't really decided yet, but you can install Morrowind the same exact way by just finding the disk and telling it to install it. So this might take a bit, so I'll come back when this is done. How about that? Be right back. Okay, so it is obviously done. The install shield is done, and it's asking me if I want to add Oblivion shortcut to my desktop. I'm just going to click no. I'm not sure what will happen if you hit yes, but, I mean, just, you probably don't want it cluttering up your desktop, so I wouldn't. You don't really need to read the README file. Just click finish. And this will finish up installing. It should recognize that it's installed now. Yep, there you go. And it'll ask you how much memory does your graphics board have. Since mine's an early MacBook Pro 2011, I only have, I think, 256. But if you're unsure, you can actually go up to your Apple icon up here and go to About This Mac. Go to More Info, and it should be right here. So if you look, mine has 384 megabytes. So I will click that. 384, hit next. What this is doing, I'm pretty sure, is just making it so that the virtual drive actually knows your hardware, just so it can better, I guess, emulate it. Alright, so click that. I'm not really sure what it's doing. It's probably setting random stuff up. But that's okay, just let it finish doing whatever it's doing. No, that didn't work. Being stupid. I actually just figured out the reason why it wasn't popping up here on my Play on Mac thing. So if you actually come to that same problem I had, go to Configure here, click on the virtual drive that I made, and go to General, and click Make a New Shortcut for this virtual drive. And it'll walk you through a step-by-step process. You probably want to start it off with the shortcut to the Oblivion launcher, not the actual Oblivion game, so you can run options and install mods and stuff. Installing mods, you can do that too if you want, so yep, that's it. Have fun playing. So you can hear the music playing. If I were you, I would go to your options and kind of toggle around with it however you want. I would start off with very low, and then if that works well, go to low, and you can tinker around with that. So let's try playing it. And right now it requires the disk, but if you want, you can go ahead and find a no disk patch, which might not be legal, so download at your own risk. I'm not going to tell you where to find that, but Google's your friend on these cases. And of course, before you want to play the game, you actually want to probably install the patches, like the latest patch for the game. But I'm just going to make sure it works and finish up this video. Elder Scrolls 4. Since I have older games, let's see if I can do this autosave here. So this will load hopefully well. Loading screens shouldn't be that slow for you. It really just depends on your system specs and how fast your computer is and all that. You do less damage with your weapons when your fatigue is low. Oh, the first loading screen is always the slowest. But yep, it runs. Maybe I should lower the settings a bit, but
What's going on?
oops.
Stop right there! Then
Run away. Run. Okay, yeah, that works. Okay, so that worked. So, yep, that's the full extent of this video. Thanks, and tune into the Oblivion Let's Plays I'll be doing. Thanks, and bye.